What up, soccer fans?
What's going on, guys? How's it going?
Welcome back to another episode of Soccer Garage. Well, if we can do it drinking,
You can do it sober.
all right. On this episode, doing something really fun.
Yeah, fuck yeah. You got a big wall.
Oh yeah, my wife wanted a mirror wall for one of the rooms in our house, actually for our front room. And of course, you know, like always, we put out quotes and things like that to see how much people will charge us to do it. And of course, the lowest price that I got was around $4,000. I was like, that just not sitting right with me. So I called my buddy Vince, and he said, "What?
Well, we gonna do it. We'll get it done.
We'll get it done." And that we're gonna do.
Yep.
It's a fun time.
So if you have really the project is we have a very long wall right when you enter the front door.
Mm-hmm.
Right. It's boring.
Yeah, very boring. Had a TV up there, but you know, we didn't really even use the room much. So
Well, it's supposed to be the baby's room.
well, it was until my wife
And
glammed it out,
Yeah.
and we ended up building a wine cellar and put $6,000 furniture in there.
Well, you know, shit happens.
Yeah.
No more baby's room.
Yep, no more baby's room. So it's an adult room now.
Yeah. These places, they're not so wide.
Mm-hmm.
They have a lot of depth to them, but they're not so wide. So what we're going to do is we're going to make it look even longer, and we're going to give it a little bit more depth.
Yeah. With the mirrors.
With mirrors.
Yeah.
Really opens it up.
Yeah, I think it will. And wood.
Yeah.
So all in, maybe I'm around about $2,000, I guess you could say, with material.
So half the
Things
price.
like that. Yep. And part of that
Half the
is
price.
having to get the mirrors cut because, of course, you know, I'm not cutting mirror myself.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of cutting mirror myself. Anything involving cutting glass, I'm going to go ahead and leave that to a professional.
Exactly. So unless you know how to cut glass, again, leave it to the professionals. They'll actually come out. They'll take all your measurements for you. They will even do the cutout around the power outlets.
Yeah, the power outlets.
The
Yeah,
power
they did a great
outlets.
job around there.
Mm-hmm. So, you know, of course, we had to kind of patch the wall and from where we hung the TV and all that kind of stuff like that. So you'll get to join in on all the fun.
Yeah, we'll kind of show you step by step. We're not going to go so much into depth and detail with measurements, but we'll show you. We'll show you how it gets done, how you can make a, like we said, long and almost boring wall a little bit more exciting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So stay tuned.
This thing is amazing. I don't know how much finishing work you do, but if you were ever thinking about getting a battery-operated nailer, I highly suggest it. Milwaukee, I'm a Milwaukee guy, you know that. This thing is fucking heavy though. Don't ever fucking do that with the battery, and I don't know why I did it. It's great. It is heavy. It weighs about as much as a roofing nailer with a battery on it. But for the convenience of not having that goddamn cable or the air compressor constantly going, if you're working in quiet settings, if you're doing work at an office building, whatever, this thing is fucking amazing. All right? Just saying.
All right, so here the sound cut out, but what we're doing here is
All right, so what we had was the boards that we bought were just too short. All in all, I think doing the riser board first ended up panning out better for us in the long run, because we didn't have to have a cut in the middle of our long strip, right? So this is pretty much what we're laughing about right now. Brian pulled another fucking oopsie with the microphone.
I swear it was on.
But listen, conquer and overcome. So right now we're making our game plan. So we did the riser first, which, like I said earlier, definitely ended up helping us out in the long run. We didn't have to make any additional cuts in the longer boards that we had, and everything just kind of, I would say, molded together pretty well.
Yeah,
actually.
I would say so. So we did the sides first, then we did the bottom and the top, and it came out really good, as you'll soon see. So again, I just want to apologize about the sound, but it's not much that we were doing here anyway. But I wanted to put this clip in here just to explain exactly what we were doing, because they kind of sets up for the rest of the video.
Talking our usual shit.
There you go. Later.
Jesus Christ.
So now I told you we were at the measuring stage now. So I'm gonna have 3 separate sections going across, and it took us some time to figure out the measurements.
Yeah. Because who the fuck knows what 19/24 is?
Yeah, who knew? Yeah.
If you've watched any of our other videos, mathematics was never my strong suit, which is kind of surprising that I do this.
Yeah.
But 19/24 is not a fraction that I use on a fucking daily basis, so
Yeah.
took me a minute.
So we found the center point for the boards, and we still have to measure. Once we found the center point, he's gonna explain this little blue chalk line thing that we're gonna do.
Yeah.
And then we're going to we have to account for the thickness, well, not the thickness, but the width, I guess.
Yeah.
The width of the boards. So the boards are 5 inches, in width. So
It'll be 2.5.
2.5
From
up,
the center.
2.5 down from the center.
Yeah. So this is really just for a visual. This is a chalk line. I don't know if you've ever seen one of these. Most people don't have them, I'm going to be honest with you. But they're very handy if you're cutting large things, large press board, particle board, if you're cutting drywall. Basically, you put one end of this on the end and you drag it across. The chalk inside is going to attach to the rope. You snap it and it leaves a straight line that you could use to cut, or for our case, use as a visual representation of where our boards are going to go. We're using blue. It's not permanent. There are other colors that are more permanent and more visible, but for our situation, we don't want it to leave too many marks, visible marks at least. We are going to repaint the wall anyway, but I can guarantee you by the end of it, it's going to look like you jacked off a Smurf. So just keep that in mind. All right.
All right. So here we go.
Nice and tight.
Nice and tight here.
All right, I'm going to pull a little bit.
Okay. Right on the line. Ready?
Yep.
All right.
Hold on. All right. So, as you can see, with one quick snap, we have a nice straight line. That's exactly what we need. All right. We're going to do the same thing down there, and you'll kind of see it. Let's see if I can move the camera down a wee bit. And you'll get a kind of another glimpse of what exactly we're doing. Nice and tight.
Nice and tight. And there we go.
Yeah. One other thing to point out, if you are going to use the chalk line method, make sure you don't have fucking carpet. Or you're not doing this near carpet, because it does go on the floor. You'll see that. From this, we can kind of sweep it up easily. Typically, you'll work with a chalk line outside. This is just going to help us for this nice big long stretch, so we're not so worried about it. But you get the idea. The chalk line is very helpful. If you've seen any of our other videos, we do a lot of mapping with this tape, painter's tape. For something like this, painter's tape is going to get rather expensive rather quickly. So the chalk line, obviously, was our go-to. All right?
Okay, so now we have a representation of where the long boards are going to sit on the wall. I'm going to show you that real quick. So again, we found our center point and measured 3/4 inches up, 2 3/4 inches down, because the boards are not 5 inches, but 5.5 inches. So we actually had to remeasure and find our points again. But that gives you a representation of where the board is going to sit on the wall now. Now we're going to do the vertical boards, and we'll show you that process as well. All right. Okay, so now the blue line gives a representation of what the boards will look like on the wall. And as you can see, I will be losing one of my plugs, so we're gonna have to patch that. Yeah, it's not great, but you know, hey. But it gives you a good representation of where the boards are gonna sit on the wall and how it's gonna look.
Yeah, so the biggest thing is that now we're going to know exactly how high up to measure for the boards. So that's what this helps with. So we'll know that to cut this board here, it's going to come right here, that's 29 1/8. Right there. That's why it makes it easier. Especially if you're a visual person like us.
Okay, so ran into a little bit of an issue.
We didn't run into it. This was something I said from fucking day one.
Yeah.
So one of our boards was going to go right through an outlet that was placed close to moving in. There used to be a TV here.
Right.
And unfortunately, the guy put it smack dead in the middle of the wall. So now we have to cover these two holes. You can't see the bottom one.
But you'll see it in a second.
I promise it's there. So now we gotta cover this up. Just gonna use one of these little patch kits. They're pretty good. I use them all the time to cover shit like this up. All we did was we held this up to the wall where it needs to go. I drew a nice dark black line, and now Brian's gonna cut right on the black line all the way around.
But not going too deep, right?
No, you just want to get through the
top layer.
The whatever you call it, the brown paper.
Right. All right. So let's see how we do.
Let's do it. All right, excellent. And you can do the same thing for the bottom one. While you're doing that, I am going to go get some plaster for you.
Somebody looks a little familiar with that.
Shake for 1 minute upside down. So this stuff is, it's called ceiling texture knockdown. we've used it a couple times. It's kind of like a very easy go-to way to fix this knockdown wall after we patch a hole. Is it the right way to do knockdown? No. Is it my favorite way? No. But it's easy and it works. The problem is it's very expensive. This
Yeah.
one can is
$20.
$19. So, let's see.
And all while making a mess all over my floor.
Yeah. Well, naturally. That's all part of it. So we're gonna leave this on the wall for maybe 5 or 10 minutes, and then we're gonna come back with a spackling knife and knock it down. That's how this stuff works. It's pretty easy.
Alright, garage fans, so now comes the time to fill the holes that we made with the nail gun. And what I'm using is the Minwax wood fill. This stuff works great. We use it pretty much on all our on all of our jobs that we do around the house. Works pretty good. And this is what it looks like on the inside. So what you do with this is, all you really want to do is just make sure you get a little bit, and then just start plugging the holes. And then once it dries, we'll be able to sand it down and then repaint. Now it's time to sand down the wood fill. Caulking time. Now it's time to let's fill in some seams. Alright, so here we are so far. Don't worry about the chip paint. It's going to get repainted, and probably in a different color to give a little contrast. Now the painting part. Alright, what's up, Saga family? Okay, so if you've been following along in this process, I'm doing a wooden mirror wall, accent wall for my wife in our front room. And this is the part where I get to actually put the mirrors up. It's been a couple of weeks since filming the last part, of course, because I had to have some guys come out and do the measurements for where the mirrors are gonna go, and of course to cut them. They just came in today, so I think I should go ahead and get started. So I went by the Home Depot and picked up a few things that I'm gonna need. I have a suction cup right here to hold the mirror, you know, to make sure that I can get it up on the wall, because I'm doing this alone, so I want to make sure I don't drop it, and I want to make sure I get it in there perfect to where I get the best fit I could possibly get. And some gloves for grip, and of course not just for grip, but that glass is freshly cut. It should be polished on the sides, so it won't cut me, but again, you're dealing with glass, so of course you want to, you know, make sure you take every possible safety precaution that you can. I also have a bag that I'll be putting, you know, the Mirror-tastic in, which is like a paste that actually sticks mirrors to walls. Basically it. And of course, we're gonna need this handy dandy ladder here, because I am 6'3", but I don't want to be playing around with putting mirrors up just over my head like that. And that part comes in with the suction cup too, to be able to hold on to it and get a good grip on the mirror so I don't drop it. And the guys that actually cut the mirror told me, I don't know if any of you guys know this to be true, but Windex is not good for mirrors. I don't know, I've always used Windex on mirrors, but he suggested to me spray away glass cleaner. I'll let you know if this works better than, you know, Windex, you know, which that's the biggest thing I'm used to. All right, so without further ado, let's get into the rest of this video. Okay, so the mirror guys told me you want to put 4 golf ball size dollops, 1 in each corner and 1 in the middle. No bigger than a golf ball size. So we're gonna see how this works. And I got my, and the bag isn't gonna work for this, so I got me a spoon that I plan on throwing away after this, and a paint stirrer. So let's get started. It's like golf ball size to me. A little bit off from the middle on this one, because of course we have to cut out there. And they wanted me to make sure that I put this on the wall and not on the mirror itself. So here we go. right, let's get the rest of these done.